So we'll jump right into this.
Yep.
But first I have to apologize for being late. I was at another event and could not get away. But listen, I do want to welcome you to the 2014 National Slavery and Human Trafficking Prevention Month Awareness Event. I'm Sheriff John Rutherford, and I'm pleased to be joined today by representatives of our Northeast Florida Coalition. And these people who I will introduce represent organizations across the spectrum of stakeholders who are committed to raising the consciousness of our citizens in our area about these horrific crimes. And let me introduce the coalition members, and if you would raise your hand, because we have quite a lengthy list here. When I call your name, the Honorable Judge David Gooding, Family and Dependency Court. Thank you, Judge, for being here. Michelle Klemp, who is the Special Agent in charge of our FBI office.
She ended up not making it.
She did make it. Okay, Miss Michelle. David Abramowitz from the North Florida Regional Managing Director of Department of Children and Families.
Sure.
David, good to see you again. We have Elaine Carson, who is the Director of the World Relief Jacksonville.
She's on her way.
Elaine, she's on her way. I'm not the only one. Good, good. I like that. I like it. We also have Lori Armstrong, Case Coordinator for the Child Protection Team.
Right here.
Thank you for being here. Lieutenant Scott Dingy, JSO Integrity and Special Investigations. Kathy Pinnell, who is JSO's Victim Services Coordinator. And Duggar, Executive Director of the Justice Coalition. I didn't see you. Oh, she's being represented over here. Shirley Webb, who is the Executive Director of the Women's Center of Jacksonville. Shirley, good to see you again. Rosa DuBose, she is the Dean at the Florida Coastal School of Law.
Dean DuBose is on her way as well.
I see, I'm feeling better all the time. Dr. Randall Alexander, Statewide Medical Director of the Child Protection Team. Behind me, good to see you. And Valerie Stanley, the Team Coordinator at the Child Protection Team Center. Thank you for being here. Gwen Steverson, Chief Probation Officer, 4th Judicial Circuit, Department of Juvenile Justice. Also Lee Kaywork, CEO of Florida Support Services. Lee, good to see you. And then finally, Teresa Rulain. Did I say that right? Rulain? She is the CEO of the Child Guidance Center. So I want to thank all of you for being here. And I'm introducing these next two people for two reasons, or these folks, because I want to publicly acknowledge all of them for their hard work and dedication to combating this modern day slave trade, if you will, but also so the public would know that whether we work in some kind of child protective services, probation and parole, the judiciary, community outreach, or law enforcement, that we are all working together equally committed to helping our citizens understand this issue and to help bring justice for those to those who perpetrate these crimes against these victims. A destitute parent, and this happens, who sells a child for sex is a human trafficker. The drug dealer who threatens and abuses his customer and then lets her work off her debt sexually is a human trafficker. 80% of the victims of sex trafficking in the U.S. are women and children. Members of our society, such as runaways, undocumented workers, and people with substance addictions are the most vulnerable to these predators. The average age of a person recruited into sex trafficking is 13 years old. It's a crime that's rooted in violence, control, and manipulation, which is why we all, as citizens, must shore up our best assets, our fellow citizens, to learn how to recognize the signs and report what we see and report what we suspect to law enforcement. We cannot do it alone. We have brought into a storyboard here to highlight for some of you our most noteworthy cases from 2013. and those are Ruel Brown, who prostituted girls for 12 years all over the country. We identified him when he was here during the 2010 Florida-Georgia game. Denise Linden, one of the few females directly charged with human trafficking, she prostituted another young woman with special needs, and she's awaiting sentencing now. And some good judge is going to take care of that one, I'm sure. Naranda Randolph is also awaiting sentencing. He prostituted 10 adult women after getting them addicted to drugs, which is another favorite modality for these folks. Eric Brooks was a violent pimp and drug dealer who also prostituted adult females. He is awaiting trial right now. And finally, Gregory Hodge prostituted both juvenile and adult females, and he's awaiting sentencing. We opened 16 human trafficking cases just locally this last year. We made 40 arrests. 50 victims total were recovered or were identified, 7 of those being juveniles. And this was an increase in our results from 2012. Human trafficking cases, in 2012, 12 human trafficking cases were opened, 28 victims recovered or identified, and 27 trafficking-related arrests made. So there is plenty of work for us here to do, and I'm very proud of Northeast Florida's coalition in this coming together to address a horrific crime that most people are living right next to and don't even know it. So pay attention, understand what's going on around you, and when you see or suspect human trafficking, sexual exploitation of adults or juveniles, call law enforcement. Let us just look into it. We're not going to tell them who you are. They don't need to know who you are, but we need to know who they are. So call us. Thank you very much. Thanks. Anybody else?
Yes, sir.
Scott?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. Like the Sheriff said earlier, my name is Lieutenant Scott Dingy. I'm the commanding officer of the Integrity Special Investigations Unit. It's my unit that's responsible here in Duval County in partnership with our law enforcement agents, other law enforcement agencies. We're responsible for investigating human trafficking here in Northeast Florida. I'm also co-chairman of the Northeast Florida Human Trafficking Coalition, so I wanted to tell you a little bit about the coalition. The coalition was established in 2005 by law enforcement and victim service providers to develop protocols and best practices for assisting victims of human trafficking in a more holistic way. The mission of the coalition is to identify, rescue, and restore victims of human trafficking in Northeast Florida through professional training, community awareness, coordinated services, and to support the investigation and prosecution of traffickers. Our coalition is composed of 3 groups. The first group is law enforcement. We have such partners as the FBI, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Department of Homeland Security, and many other agencies. We also have victim service providers such as Department of Children and Families, World Relief of Jacksonville, Family Support Services, the Child Guidance Center, and HerSong, a local counseling agency. We also have a community action team, which is composed of exactly what it sounds like. Community members, it can be church groups, individuals, private citizens, people that want to help out in any way they can. When we have victims in need, this is who we reach out to if we need help with a down payment for a victim to move into an apartment. We put a request out to our community action team. They respond and generally help us out, or help the victim out more importantly. So all three groups come together to combat human trafficking. By having this coalition, it enables us to meet regularly to discuss current cases and trends in human trafficking cases, so we can more effectively identify and prosecute traffickers and rescue victims. It also helps us share resources to best help restore victims. It helps us organize, plan, and promote community awareness and outreach events. For example, in 2013, we participated in over 20 such community awareness events. We had 3 at University of North Florida, 1 at a high school down in St. Johns County. We've been to a Sheriff's Advisory Council group, community watch groups, that kind of thing. It also allows for additional resources for providing human trafficking training for law enforcement agencies, service providers, and court personnel. It helps us enhance communication and develop relationships with partners throughout Florida and the nation. Efforts of coalition partners were key to many of the successes that you see on the board here. It's through this group effort, like the sheriff said, that really allows us to be effective fighting human trafficking. And there's plenty of work to do and more work in the future to do. I'm going to step aside. I'm going to turn it over to Michelle Clough. She's the other co-chairman of the coalition. Just in recognition, this is Michelle Clough's last day as the co-chair. So we wish her well outside of the coalition.
Thank you. My name is Michelle Clough, and I'm the Refugee Services Coordinator and Advocate at World Relief. And as Lieutenant Dingy said, for the past year and a half, I've served as co-chair of the Northeast Florida Coalition, and Lori Armstrong is going to be stepping into that position today. But in recognition of National Slavery and Human Trafficking Prevention Month, the coalition is holding its first, and we hope it's going to be an annual gathering. As Lieutenant Dingy mentioned, there's 3 arms to the coalition, but they've never all come together. So tonight, we're going to all come together. We're bringing law enforcement, service providers, interfaith network, community organizations, individuals, to get together to network and to collaborate on efforts to continue to raise awareness in our community about trafficking. We're going to talk about, as Lieutenant Dingy mentioned, the needs. The needs are huge to provide for victims of trafficking. And then also how we can expand our area of outreach within Northeast Florida. We've done amazing work this year, but we have so many ideas and more work that we want to do in 2014. The event's going to also include some breakout sessions. It's open to the public. If you'd like to come, it's going to begin at 4 o'clock. It's going to be at South Point Community Church. That's located at 7556 Salisbury Road. The zip's 32256 if you have a GPS. And it's going to begin at 4, go to about 6. And we're really excited about having this event, bringing everybody together, and look forward to hopefully doing it again. The month of January is filled with many events. Too many to mention right now, but they will be posted on our Facebook page, so you can go to the Northeast Florida Human Trafficking Coalition Facebook page and see all the events that are coming up each week. Thank you.
All right, if anyone has any questions, we'll field them now, and I'll call on one of these experts to give you an answer. Anybody have anything? Well, again, let me thank all of the, thanks to all the media for being here to help us get this word out, because we can't get to the public without you. So thank you guys very much, and thanks to everybody here and those who work on the coalition that couldn't make it here. Thanks to all of you for what you're doing to help these victims in our community. God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you.